Somewhere in the jungles of Southeast Asia, there is a city that shouldn't exist. It was once home to over 1 million people, larger than any city in medieval Europe. It had running water, paved highways, and hospitals. It was the beating heart of an empire that ruled nearly all of Southeast Asia. And then, it vanished. Not gradually. Not peacefully. Within a single century, one of the most sophisticated civilizations the world had ever seen collapsed so completely that the jungle swallowed it whole. For 400 years, it lay hidden, a ghost empire beneath the trees. This is the story of the Khmer Empire. Of a god-king who built heaven on earth. And of the catastrophe that brought it all down. The year is 802 AD. A young king named Jayavarman II stands atop a sacred mountain in what is now northern Cambodia and performs a ritual that will change history. He declares himself Devaraja, the God King. A divine ruler who is not merely chosen by the gods, but is himself a god on earth. In doing so, he fuses religion and political power into something entirely new, the Khmer Empire. Over the next 2 centuries, his successors build an empire that stretches across modern-day Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. They command armies of hundreds of thousands. They construct over 1,000 temples. They engineer one of the most sophisticated water management systems the ancient world has ever seen. But it is King Suryavarman II, ruling in the early 12th century, who builds the masterpiece. He orders the construction of a temple unlike anything the world has seen. Angkor Wat. A monument so vast, so precisely engineered, that modern architects are still baffled by how it was built without cranes, without steel, and without the wheel in practical use. 37 years. That's how long it takes. Over 300,000 workers. 5 million tons of sandstone, hand-carved, floated down rivers on rafts, and laid with such precision that many of the stone joints require no mortar at all. The temple is built as a microcosm of the Hindu universe. Its 5 towers represent Mount Meru, the home of the gods. Its moat represents the cosmic ocean. Every measurement, every alignment, every carved figure is deliberate. It is, in every sense, heaven on earth. At its peak, Angkor is the largest pre-industrial city in human history, covering over 1,000 square kilometers. For comparison, medieval London fits inside its suburbs. But empires, no matter how divine their rulers claim to be, are made of flesh and stone. And both can break. The first cracks appear in the late 12th century. A new king, Jayavarman VII, converts the empire from Hinduism to Buddhism, a religious upheaval that destabilizes centuries of cultural identity. He also fights wars on multiple fronts simultaneously, stretching the empire's resources to the breaking point. Then comes the Thai. The kingdom of Ayutthaya rises to the west and begins raiding Khmer territory. In 1431, they sack Angkor not once, but repeatedly. The royal court packs up and flees south to Phnom Penh. The administrative infrastructure of the empire dissolves almost overnight. But here's the detail most history books skip. The Khmer weren't just defeated by armies. They were defeated by water. Angkor's entire civilization was built on an extraordinary hydraulic system and intricate network of canals, reservoirs, and moats that captured monsoon rains and distributed water across the city year-round. In a region of extreme wet and dry seasons, this system was the lifeblood of the empire. Modern researchers drilling core samples beneath the jungle floor have discovered something startling. In the 14th and 15th centuries, the region was hit by a brutal combination of severe droughts and then catastrophic megafloods, almost certainly linked to shifting monsoon patterns. The hydraulic network, already strained by centuries of use and deferred maintenance, couldn't cope. Canals silted up. Reservoirs failed. Crops died. What followed was likely famine, and with famine came disease, migration, and social collapse. The population that had fed an empire began to scatter. No single sword killed Angkor. It was strangled, slowly, by the very water that had given it life. By the mid-15th century, the great city is largely abandoned. The temples still stand, but no one tends them. No king holds court. No priests chant in the sanctuaries. The jungle moves in. Within a generation, trees hundreds of feet tall are growing through the rooftops. Roots older than nations wrap themselves around towers that were once the center of the world. Nature reclaims in decades what took humans centuries to build. And yet, the story doesn't entirely end there. A small community of Buddhist monks never leave. They maintain a few shrines, chant in empty galleries, light incense in halls built for a god who has long since been forgotten. They are the last heartbeat of an empire. For 400 years, the outside world knows nothing of what lies beneath the jungle canopy of Cambodia. Then in 1860, a French naturalist named Henri Mouhot stumbles through the trees and stops dead in his tracks. What he finds defies everything he knows about the civilizations of Asia. He writes in his journal that the ruins are grander than anything left by Greece or Rome and that no builder living today could replicate them. The world, stunned, begins to ask, who built this? How? And why did they disappear? Today, Angkor Wat is the largest religious monument on Earth. It draws over 2 million visitors a year. It is on the Cambodian flag, the only building in the world to appear on a national flag. It is a source of profound national identity for a country that has endured unimaginable suffering in the modern era. And we are still learning its secrets. In 2015 and 2016, archaeologists using airborne LiDAR technology, laser mapping that can see through dense jungle canopy, discover something extraordinary. Angkor wasn't a single city. It was the center of a vast urban network. Dozens of previously unknown cities, roads, and hydraulic features are mapped for the first time. Some of them are larger than Angkor itself. We had been standing on top of a civilization we didn't even know existed. But perhaps the most important lesson Angkor offers isn't about ambition, or artistry, or the reach of empire. It's about water. A civilization of 1 million people, armed with the most advanced hydraulic engineering of their age, was brought to its knees by climate disruption. By droughts that lasted decades. By floods that overwhelmed centuries of infrastructure. By a failure to adapt a system that had worked until it didn't. In the 21st century, as we face our own era of climate uncertainty, that story feels less like ancient history and more like a warning.